Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on CBS News 24/7. I'm Lindsay Reiser. We are tracking extremely dangerous and now deadly conditions in Southern California, where multiple wildfires continue to burn out of control. 4 major fires are raging with little or no containment in the Los Angeles area, fueled by extraordinarily high winds. The fires have been named the Palisades Fire west of LA, the Eaton Fire northeast of the city, and the Hearst and Woodland fires in the northern outskirts. I want to show you time-lapse video of the Palisades Fire, which erupted quickly yesterday morning around 10:30 local time. It has destroyed dozens of homes and businesses already. This particular fire has more than tripled in size from overnight, from almost 3,000 acres to 11,800 acres. In all, more than 70,000 people have been ordered to evacuate. State fire officials say at least 2 people died in the Eaton fire, but the exact cause of these deaths unknown at this time. They also say a high number of people injured by the fires were those who didn't evacuate. According to poweroutage.us, more than 400,000 people are without power in the state.
Please prioritize your safety as well as the well-being of those around you as we come together to continue to get through this widespread disaster. Los Angeles County firefighters will remain on the front line until we reach full containment.
Now, to give you some context of the area, here's a map showing the fire's locations in relation to cities and some of the area's biggest attractions. Of course, the famous Hollywood sign, as well as the Getty Museum. Those are located between the Woodley and the Palisades fire. The museum says they've been impacted with some trees and vegetation on site burned, but no structures on fire. And the Santa Monica Pier is just south of where the Palisades fire is burning. Disneyland, you'll notice, is located a bit further away in Anaheim. CBS News correspondent Elise Preston is in Malibu, California, which is in Los Angeles County. Elise, I noticed that you've moved locations again. We can really see that smoke behind you, and again, that wind.
Yeah, Lindsay, about a half hour ago when I spoke to you, I said that the wind hasn't necessarily died down. We were just in a different position. So we are back in that position for your viewers, and you can see just how powerful these winds are. These wind gusts have topped out at about 100 miles per hour, and that is what is making these 4 fires so dangerous, because they are able to carry embers and burst them into flames. They're able to spread the flames and excuse me, in a very short time. And so if you go right down this Pacific Coast Highway stretch, you'll see on both sides of the street homes that have just burned to the ground. I've never seen anything like it. You know, we've covered so many wildfires, and you may see a fire on one side of the street, and then on the opposite side, the homes are untouched. But that has not been the case here. And in this Palisades fire in particular, there are more than 1,000 structures that have burned. And so it is absolutely devastating. It is heartbreaking to see that up close. Along the Pacific Coast Highway down this way, you'll see people who have evacuated, but they haven't necessarily gone anywhere. They're in their cars just along this stretch of the roadway. You're seeing them praying. You're seeing them cry, wipe away tears, and just reach out and speak to one another.
And Elise, can you put this in context? I mean, you've lived in the area. You know the area well. How different does this time feel?
This is devastating, Lindsay. I've never seen anything like it. I've been in California for about 2 years, but we've spoken to people who have lived here all their lives, and they say that they have never seen anything like it, and it is because of this wind, and it is so dry. You were reporting earlier in your show when you were breaking into the LA programming, they were talking about just how off, right, that this fire season is. And the fact that this would be happening in January. It is so dry right now. And these winds have just made these 4 wildfires almost impossible for firefighters to try to get a hold of.
All right, Elise.
Excuse me, it's just all of the embers and the smoke.
Yes, and I'm pleased to see you. You've been adjusting your face mask and goggles. We know that's so important for you guys to stay safe as well. Please seek refuge when you can, but we really appreciate you bringing us these live reports you and your crew. Now, while evacuations are underway across parts of Southern California, one man was able to break the line in order to rescue his mother from the flames. David Hansen joins us now from Thousand Oaks, California, on the phone. And David, from the people we talked to, this came on and grew so quickly. Tell us about the moment you knew your mom was in danger and what obstacles you faced to get to her.
You know, I was driving on the freeway yesterday at about 11:15 in the morning when the fire had probably already grown to about 10 acres. And not more than 600 yards from where this fire broke out, there was actually a fire on New Year's morning, January 1st, around 1 or 2 in the morning, of a similar size that the LAFD did a fantastic job and got out quickly. And we don't know if this was a restart of that fire from a week ago or what. And when I was still on the freeway at Sunset Boulevard and the 405 at 11:45 in the morning, it became apparent in that 30 minutes that the fire had grown in scale. And one of our good friends is a neighbor of my mom's, Jerry Coliano, was trying to drive my mother out of the Palisades Highlands where the fire started. It's a community of about 1,000 homes with only one way in and one way out on Palisades Drive, a canyon. And they instructed me that they try to evacuate, but were told to turn around and shelter in place because the fire was consuming cars and palm trees at the bottom of the canyon, preventing everybody from leaving. And I knew from growing up there, being born and raised in the Palisades, that there's a fire access road at the top of Lockman Lane that is the only other artery for vehicles to get into the Palisades Highlands in that community of 1,000 homes. And even some newer residents don't really know about it because it's a gate that's normally closed. And I was so blessed that I was able to go by some burning homes on Lockman and Charmel Place, and I was probably the last car to cross the fire road as the flames were about to touch it. And then once we got my mother and we're trying to get her and her dog out of the Highlands and have friends follow us, just within 5 minutes when we got back to that fire road for evacuating, it was completely engulfed in flames. And we were instructed by police and the fire crews on site to shelter in place. And it was another 2+ hours before LAFD and the LAPD did a fantastic job with bulldozers clearing 4 lanes of traffic of cars that were abandoned and on fire at Palisades Drive so that the bulk of the residents could get out closer to 3 in the afternoon.
Wow. How is your mom doing, and what was it like when you found her?
So she's in shock then. She's in shock now. And when we sheltered in place at her home, she still had power. She still had internet. It was amazing. And she was able to get a few belongings. I think she never thought this was going to happen because in 37 years, she's experienced fires. She's experienced evacuations. But this community, absent a couple homes in the last 40 years, really hasn't burned structures. And, you know, this was an inferno that none of us foresaw. And so she was able to get some personal belongings, and she's still in shock. And we don't know if her home's there or not. My sister's home in Malibu, above Duke's Malibu in Las Flores Canyon, burnt to the ground after they evacuated at 6:15 p.m. last night. They were able to get back to see their property completely destroyed. And my mother's, we don't have access to it yet, and we know from a couple people in a vicinity that there's homes actively burning on her street, and we're guessing at least a third or half the homes on her street are currently on fire on Piedra Morada Drive, and we're just praying that everybody's safe and, you know, hopefully some homes survive.
I'm so sorry to hear what's going on with your mom's neighbors and your own family. How are you able to reconcile the images that you are seeing, the bulldozers moving abandoned cars, the catastrophic flames, the winds, the smoke, the damage that you're seeing? How are you able to wrap your mind around that, given that you grew up in this area?
I've never seen anything this extreme. I mean, everybody thought they were in a war zone and what other people in third world countries may experience. And, yeah, we're just utter shock. And our neighbors that stayed behind with some hoses and pumps and fire hoses and fuel-powered pumps to get water out of their pools to fight the fire, some very brave people stayed till past 6 in the evening. And that was about the time that, unfortunately, the water pressure for the community, for the homes, was significantly reduced and non-working to allocate it more to the fire hydrants. But even then, the local fire hydrants weren't at the water pressures that the LAFD liked. And so they were getting some air support in the night. But being there, you know, you can stand next to a fireplace and feel the heat. And it was just kind of strange being 100 yards or 50 yards away from active flames and feeling the heat, from a few hundred feet. And I don't think I've ever really experienced anything like that.
How did you see? I know that you witnessed some neighbors staying behind, hosing down their property. What else did you see? And do you know if they're okay? And were any of them useful in helping you get to your mom?
A lot of my mom's neighbors have, like her, been there for over 30 years. It's kind of a little community that people move to and never leave. And strangely, a lot of her neighbors are retired, and none of them were traveling, and they were all home in their houses, hosing off their properties. And we were all kind of working together, making sure everybody was out of neighbors' homes. And a good friend up the hill from my mother was fantastic, Jerry Del Coliano, who was there. And before I could get there, and my sister could not get there from Malibu, when she didn't know her home later in the day was going to be at risk, he was the one that first got my mom into a car and tried to get her evacuated before they could not get down Palisades Drive. So everybody was helping everybody. We saw people, just in case they had to drive through flames at the bottom of the hill, dousing their cars, not their homes, with water with their hose, just to hopefully prevent embers from igniting their cars as they drove through the flames.
I mean, so much of what you're saying is unfathomable. What about your home? Are you doing okay? Is your home in any danger?